if the reason you've not started yet has nothing to do with motivation? What if it is simply that nobody has ever clearly laid out your options and helped you understand what each one actually means for your real life? Well, that changes today. I'm giving you a real cheat sheet, 5 legitimate health and fitness paths that you can take right now. We're talking about what each one is, who it works best for, what it costs, and exactly how to know which one fits your life in this season. This is one of those episodes that's going to give you something you can actually do something with. So grab your coffee, get your notebook and a pen, because today you're going to have some real tactical tools and you're going to want to jot them down. All right, let's get into it. Welcome to Strength for Generations, the go-to podcast for Christian families who want to build strength, restore energy, and deepen connection with God at the center. I'm Krista Baker, Christian health coach, wife, mom, and co-founder of Baker Family Fitness. I'm here to help you honor God with your health and bring peace back to the process, to simplify what it means to build strength in your body, renew your mind, and care for your spirit, all without losing precious time with your family. So grab your coffee and your ribeye, and let's do this His way. Now, before we get into today's episode, I just want to take a moment and ask you to do something. If this podcast has added value to your life, if an episode has helped you think differently, maybe gave you some practical steps to apply into your real life, or made you feel like finally someone understands what I'm walking through, would you take 30 seconds and leave a review? I know it sounds like a small thing, but it genuinely helps people find this podcast. People just like yourself, people that have felt very conflicted, very confused, and that are just looking for some hope and some answers. Right now, there's a mom or dad out there searching for answers. They're tired, confused, tried all the things that didn't work, and started wondering if anything actually will. So your review could be the reason they find this community, and that matters more than you know. Also, don't forget to hit subscribe, because that's an important piece too. Now, let's get into today's episode. So every week I have either messages on Instagram, Facebook, emails, conversations at church, just random opportunities to have these conversations. And I hear this: Krista, I know I need to do something. I just don't know what to do. Or this is what I'm doing and it's not working. And what I've learned over the years of coaching, that this often doesn't come from laziness or somebody who's not willing to do the thing. It's that I've done all these things, or I don't know if these things actually work. And it comes from a place where they care, because these people care deeply. They care about their families and care about their health. It's just, they're standing in the middle of too many options and so much conflicting information that they're frozen. They don't know what to do. And trust me, I get it. It's really what the fitness space does. It's very conflicting. It's distracting. And it's something that our health and fitness space, we don't do very well. We don't explain ourselves very well. We just kind of throw these options at you and make you feel bad about yourself. Kind of try to figure this all out on your own. Or here's just like this PDF, go and do it, right? The gym memberships, the boot camps, the online programs, the personal trainers, the 30-day challenges, all the different coaches and their philosophies and their thought processes, the meal plans. Somewhere in the middle of all that noise, a well-meaning doctor might even tell you you should start exercising and clean up your diet without giving you an actual practical tool on how to do that. So you're constantly walking around feeling more confused. And I recently had a woman reach out to me. She was in her late 40s. She has kids, a full schedule, church commitments, lots of church commitments that she was serving in faithfully, and a heart that genuinely wanted to honor God with everything that she does, and especially the fact that she wasn't feeling good. And she told me she joined a gym twice in the last 3 years and barely went either time. And she said, I feel like I keep wasting my money and I still feel terrible. Maybe it's my hormones, or maybe I'm just not the kind of person who can do this. That stuff, hearing things like that, that breaks my heart. Because she's not the kind of person who can't do it. She's the kind of person who had never been given the right information for the season that she's currently in. So she keeps signing up for something that's not designed for her right now. And I think a lot of you listening right now know exactly what that feels like. You're not behind. You're not broken. You just need some clarity. And that's what we're going to make sure we cover today, okay, my friends? So first, before we go through the different options, I want you to think about your schedule. I want you to think about your budget, your real budget. Are you willing to give up Starbucks and all these other luxuries that we just kind of throw out there that we don't realize we're really wasting a lot of money on? Like an actual real budget where you're like, this is going to be invested into my health, okay? Because these things cost money. None of this is free. I'm going to give you a free option at the end, but be realistic. And we're going to talk about what all this stuff costs. I want you to think about your personality. I want you to think about the season of life you're in. Do you have a newborn at home? Do you have, 5 kids that are in competitive sports every single day and you're in your car and you're working full time and you're paying for Christian education? Like, consider all those things. The best option is not the most popular one or the most expensive one. The best option is the one that actually fits your life right now. Remember, God meets us where we are, and your health plan should too. So our first option is our traditional gym membership. When people are like, I need to get healthy, I need to start working out, I need to start moving my body, I feel tired, I feel sore, I feel all these things, they think, I got to go to the gym, right? And that's where most people start. And it's worth understanding what it actually gives you before you decide if it's the right fit. So you join a gym, you gain access to equipment and space, and you show up. So now, depending on the gym, classes may or may not be included in your base membership. So some gyms will provide, spin classes, aerobic classes, or those Group X classes. And sometimes that's not included in the membership. So like the YMCA, for example, you can have access to the walking track and the equipment, but it's more expensive if you are going to be doing the group classes as well, or if you want access to the pool. So you have to consider those things. So basic gym membership typically runs between $20 and $80 a month. If you're adding those classes on, it could increase the pricing for you. It just depends on the location that you go to. And some gyms don't have that. So you can get a cheaper gym membership because they don't have all that added luxury. And so that could be a more affordable place for some people to start based off of finances. Just remember though, the gym, it gives you a space. It doesn't give you a plan. So if you already know exactly what to do when you walk through those doors, if you have a structured program and you understand how to build and execute a workout, a gym membership can be a very effective and affordable tool. And it's actually very inviting. I think a lot of people are intimidated by going to the gym because maybe they're going to see other people that are healthier or fit or whatever. But guess what? Those people started somewhere too. And it's actually a more encouraging place to be. Some people will realize you're normally here at 6 a.m. and then a week goes by and you go back and you're like, hey, where were you? I noticed you weren't here last week. That can be very encouraging and that can keep you coming back as long as you have a clear plan and something to do. If you walk in without a clear plan, you're going to wander. And you're going to feel unsure. You're going to do a little of this and a little of that. And eventually you're going to stop going. And then you're going to feel like you failed. Here's the truth. You didn't fail. You just were handed a resource without a roadmap. And that's the big difference. So before you sign up, I want you to ask yourself one honest question. Do I already have a clear and specific plan for what I will do every single time I walk through those doors? Is that plan going to help me achieve my goals? Am I just going to go in there and walk on the treadmill because I'm too afraid to use the equipment? If the answer is a confident yes, a traditional gym membership might be a great fit for where you are right now. And then also consider if you do have little ones, does this place offer daycare so I can drop the kids off and go work out for an hour? That might be a really good fit for you. If the answer is anything other than that, keep listening. Okay, our second option is group fitness and structured class programs. So think about things like F45, Orange Theory, CrossFit, or kickboxing classes. There's some private gyms that offer group workouts. They're very high energy. They're structured workout studios where an instructor leads you and the entire class through the same session together. There's music, there's community, there's an energy in the room that a lot of people find genuinely motivating. And for the right person in the right season, these programs work really well. The monthly cost of these typically run between about $150 to $250, upwards of $300 a month. It just depends on where you live. and how often you attend. Sometimes it's like an all-included price and you can just come as many times as you want throughout the week. But you don't show up, you're still paying for it. And there's other studios like Pilates studios that have grown a lot in the recent years. They offered more of that low impact approach. You could still build some strength, a lot of mobility work. That's really the thing that they lean into. So, somebody that's newer, not ready to join a gym, but they want a little bit more structure, or if you have joint issues, recovery, and not looking for anything too high impact, it could be a good place and worth exploring. But you have to be careful because some of them are connected to a yoga studio. And whether you agree to this or not, I'm coming from a place of personal experience. I am a certified yoga instructor. It was one of my first certifications I took when I was 21 years old. It's a movement practice. It offers very good physical benefits, flexibility, breath work, stress reduction, mobility, all that stuff. There's some strengthening. There's some things that you can learn how to do with your body that are quite amazing. However, if you're a fellow believer, yoga has very deep roots in the Hindu spiritual tradition. And a lot of the yoga studios today carry new age spiritual elements woven into the classes and the culture of the space. And so my encouragement to you is simply this: do your due diligence. Research the studio. We can use these things and say like, but I'm only there to just stretch and I'm praying to God when I'm in the room and I'm not worried about what else is happening. Well, there's spiritual ties that could be happening. And this is going to be on another episode one day, but we'll get into the deep side of that. But, there are different instructors, different approaches, but I think it becomes a place where people really struggle, especially as Christians. Should I be doing this? Should I not? There's ties that we're making when we enter a room like that. And so you have to put on the armor of God and ask yourself, is this really the approach I want to take? I think it's important that you go in with eyes open and you can make a decision that aligns with your faith and your convictions. So here's what I want you to think about before we decide, am I going to join one of these group programs? They're very wonderful for people who are energized by community, enjoy a higher energy environment, or they're coming in with a solid fitness baseline. They are not always the right fit for someone navigating hormonal changes, autoimmune challenges, joint issues. I mean, the Pilates could be one that you could do for joint discomfort, or a body that needs some individualization. A lot of these classes are basically cardio with weights. So if our goal is to get really strong, which hopefully if you're listening to this podcast, you believe in strength for generations, it's really important that we know that a lot of the times these classes can backfire on us. You have to think about it. An instructor's leading a room of 20 to 30 people through the same workout. They're going to cue you from the front. They're going to do their best to make sure I noticed and I know I've done classes and boot camps before where you're scanning around and you're like, knees out, shoulders back, chest up, and you're trying to cue because they're seeing maybe one or two people along the way that are struggling with their technique or form. And you don't know that it's actually a cue for you. But they're trying to get your attention, but they just can't. That's not what a group class does. And, sometimes pushing hard without proper guidance or someone that can actually help you understand what strength is, it could set you back. So you might have to be mindful of that. And I don't want you to feel like you have to avoid this option entirely. I've had clients of mine, I'm like, well, based off of all the work that we're doing and we're diving into your nutrition and we're diving into do these 3 strength building workouts, and then you can do 1 or 2 classes that are just fun, social, because it's really important to a lot of people. So I really want you to be mindful of that and think about going in with clear eyes. And you can actually go and ask the instructor directly, like, how do they handle modifications for people if you have an injury or a health condition? Do they understand the impact of the autoimmune system when we stress our bodies so highly in a program or in this 1-hour workout where we're sludging through? If they can give you a clear and confident answer, then that's a great sign. But if they can't answer those questions, it tells you something really important. This might not be the right fit right now. And then we have option 3. So that's working with a personal trainer one-on-one. And that's the most individualized in-person experience available to you. A personal trainer designs a specific program for your body and for your goals. And they're watching your form in real time, your technique, making adjustments as you go, pushing you a little bit harder than you probably would push yourself, making sure things are, safe there. There's like this direct accountability face to face. And the investment reflects on that level of attention. Think about if I was going to go get a massage 3 times a week, you're paying for that massage time on the table, that one-on-one hour. And so that typically runs anywhere from $60 to $150 an hour. I had a coach I used to work with. He lived in Boston. He charged $160 USD per session because of his location, where he was, or depending on his skill level, right? And so if we do the math on that, because I think it's really important to understand, even if we're at the low end and it's $60 a session and we're going twice a week, that's about $480 a month. That's on the low end. And let's say we're at one of those higher ends where it's $150 a session 2 times a week. Well, you're looking at $1,200 a month. If you're training 3 times a week, it could be anywhere from $700 to $1,800, depending on, once again, the location. And then you also have to consider the schedule. So can I actually make it Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m.? Does that individual have that availability? What happens if I don't show up? Do I still get charged for my session? Because most coaches will, and rightfully so. Like, that's their time and they could put somebody else in to earn their income. With obviously parameters around sick days, it's really important for you to make sure that because that's what you want to understand. What are you actually paying for? The thing that a lot of people don't realize when it comes to personal training is you're paying for that hour. You're not paying for someone to be present with you all of those other hours. And I always tell people, I'm like, you have 168 hours in a week. If you're going to work out with somebody 2 or 3 of them, well, there's, 166 hours that I'm now responsible for that I've got to figure out and make sure I'm doing the best that I can with those hours. And so you're paying somebody for that time, right? Correct your form, work out safely, make sure you're executing properly, keep you accountable. And I really think it's a valuable place to start. And it's worth every dollar. I've had a personal trainer because I would want to learn new techniques or how to coach my clients better. And I always learn better hands-on. I've had a personal trainer many times. And then we're going to talk about what coaching is. There's a little difference. But what we don't get with personal training is nutrition guidance, sleep and stress support, the lifestyle coaching, check-ins on how your week is actually going. Most personal trainers are not nutritionists or health coaches. And that work, the outside of the gym work, is usually a separate conversation and a separate cost. Some trainers do offer nutrition add-ons or lifestyle coaching packages, but it's not a standard and it's not typically included in your session rate. So when you're evaluating this option, I want you to be clear on what it is and what it isn't and what you're paying for. And so if you're talking to a trainer, you want to ask a lot of questions specifically about their experience. I remember right after I had Casey, I was a nursing mom. So for any nursing mom, you understand how painful that can feel in the chest area at times, especially doing certain moves. And I was working out at this group athletic training place, and it was a young guy who was the coach, and very nice, very kind, knew exactly how to push athletes. And I was very athletic at that time, but I was still recovering from having a baby. Well, he didn't understand that. And he would prescribe these exercises. I'm like, it's painful. Like, I can't do a Superman right now. It hurts for me to lay on my stomach and my chest. So that's where you have to be careful. And those are the things that you should ask ahead of time. How do they approach training for someone if they have hormonal issues, autoimmune conditions, because those are very real things that may or may not be getting addressed. Maybe you have chronic pain. What's their philosophy around nutrition and lifestyle outside of gym sessions? Ask them directly. Is there a different level of support? Is there extra cost for that? And that answer is going to help you come up with your game plan and figure out, is this the right path for me right now based off of where I am? It can be very, very effective. Okay, now our fourth option is online coaching. And so this one has grown exponentially. I've been online coaching personally since 2018. I remember back then being told online coaching is never going to work. And I looked at someone, I don't want to have to charge them $1,200 a month for them to come and see me. And then if they miss a session, and I was like, no, I think there's a better way. And this one has a wide range. First of all, online coaching simply means working with a coach remotely rather than in person. This is not virtual sessions. A virtual session with a coach is still one-on-one training, and that would go under the qualification of personal training. You're just not in the same room, but you're still paying for that 1 hour of time. So that's different. So we're working with someone remotely, and there's a couple different categories that fall under this. So you have coaches that provide a pre-built program that you can follow on your own. You get a workout plan, maybe a eat this much protein, basic nutrition guide, and access to a community or an app where you can maybe ask some questions. So that type of coaching can run from anywhere in the world. And it could be usually, sometimes you'll see them like $19 a month to $80, $90, $100 a month, depending on the coach and how much they're giving in that group coaching offer. It's a little bit more of a group that they're doing. It's not individualized. And that's an affordable entry point for someone who's very self-directed and just needs a solid structure to follow. So it could be a very good starting place for people. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, you have a fully custom one-on-one online coaching. This is where a coach builds everything specifically around you, your body, your schedule, your health history, your goals, your real life. This level of coaching can range from, I've seen $349 was like USD was the lowest I've ever really seen a one-on-one coaching program, but usually upwards of $500, $600, $700 a month because you're getting an entire system built out for you and it's a next level of support. So it's not as expensive as one-on-one personal training, but it's definitely way more accountability. And so if you listen to my previous episode, I talked about what I do with people that I work with. I used to mentor online coaches for an organization, and I've reviewed a lot of their programs. So it was my job to make sure, like, okay, how is the client care looking? Sure, we need to find clients, but how are you caring for your clients? Are they staying with you? Are they getting success? Are they actually winning in your program? And what does that actually look like? So I've seen a lot of programs. And if you want to learn more about what I do, you can go back to that episode and you'll get a deep dive for sure. But the program, if you're working with an online coach, should always be built around what you have access to, how your body moves, your goals. Hopefully they're doing a deep dive into your nutrition. Hopefully they're doing a deep dive into your mindset. Not all coaches do that. Trust me, I was seeing that as a lack in a lot of people's programs that they offered. And so making sure that they're checking in. There's coaches that are amazing. They'll do like form and technique reviews. Absolutely amazing. My coach does that for me. We need to make sure that they're considering how much you're moving during the day, what your daily activity looks like, what does your life look like, your nutrition look like. If you're hiring an online coach, there's so many amazing ones out there. You just have to make sure that they're looking at all of those patterns. So ask lots of questions if you're vetting somebody. Like when you get on a call with somebody or when you're making this decision, it's a two-way interview. That person should be interviewing you. Would you be a good fit for this program? And vice versa. So make sure that you're really diving into that. Ask them, do they understand sleep, stress? Do they understand what's real life is happening? So those are good things to add into your interview. Another good question to ask them is, what happens if I miss time, if I get sick? What do we do? How do we pivot? What about when I'm traveling? A lot of people have those concerns, so it's important that you bring that up. Do they understand hormonal issues? Do they understand perimenopause? Or are they going to make you feel like you just got to keep pushing harder? Those are really good interview questions to ask. So here's some questions. Is this a pre-built plan or is it built specifically for me? What do you look at? Do you look at the nutrition, sleep, stress, lifestyle, or just workouts? How often will you actually communicate with me? And what does that look like? What's your experience like? Have you worked with clients who has a torn labrum? That would be a question I would ask because I have a torn labrum. The answers will tell you whether you're looking at a program or a partnership. And I'll tell you from experience, the partnership is where real transformation happens. Okay, we have a fifth option, my friends, and it's doing more of a do-it-yourself, free, low cost. There's lots of resources out there. There's more quality health and fitness information available. I just find it's like conflicting, but there's a lot of free. YouTube has thousands of workout videos for every fitness level. Podcasts like this one gives you real education and practical tools at no cost. You know, we have the MyFitnessPal apps that you can track nutrition. Check out Macros First. I love his app. He has a paid version, but the free version is perfect. You've got books and blogs and online communities that can actually provide some structure and support. So if budget is a real barrier right now, and you can't hire a coach even though you really want to or you need to, don't let that be the thing that stops you from not doing something. You've got to do something. Okay, so this is a completely legitimate place to start. The cost is essentially zero to very low depending on what resources you choose. The do-it-yourself approach works really well when you have a clear goal, a specific plan, and you're following it consistently, and you have the discipline to keep going when motivation fades. Where it tends to break down are the areas of accountability, personalization, and just how to really navigate through this. Am I actually building strength? Do I know how to make my body stronger? And if you're doing a lot of research, you can figure this out. When something stops working, you do have to figure it out on your own. When life gets hard and momentum drops, there's no one in your corner to help you get back on track. When your body changes or something feels off, you're left searching the internet hoping to find the right answer. So for someone also navigating hormonal changes or autoimmune conditions or years of inconsistent habits, the gap in guidance can actually mean months or even years of spinning your wheels. If you're going to do the do-it-yourself route, treat it like a real plan and not just an intention. You need to write down specifically what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and how you're going to measure whether it's working. Give yourself a timeline, 30 to 60 days, and then honestly evaluate whether you're seeing progress. And if you are, keep going. If you're not, then it's important information and it's worth investing in more support. So now that you have the full picture, we've got 5 real options laid out clearly for you. Here's what I want you to sit with for a moment. Every single one of those paths can work. I know they can work, but here's what I want you to understand. After years of working with people in your exact season of life, the option that works is not the cheapest one or the most popular one that your friend might be doing. The option that works is the one that meets you where you actually are right now, with your real schedule and your body, maybe injuries or whatever's happening inside your body, your budget, your life. We don't want to get to a place where we just sign up, start strong, life happens, schedule gets full, motivation fades, results don't come as fast as we hoped, and then just stop. That's when we start to feel defeated. And that's where we start to say, none of this works. And we start to talk to ourselves like, I'm just not this type of person who can do this. That story is not true. And it's never been true. When that happens, the option that you chose was not designed for your life. And that's more what we would call a mismatch. God did not design you to be stuck. He designed you to be strong. He designed you to have the energy to serve your family, show up for your community, and to live with intention and purpose in this body He gave you. But that requires wisdom. And wisdom starts with choosing the right path for where you actually are, not where you think you should be or where someone else is. So if you've listened to all these 5 options and something clicked for you and you're like, girl, I need to know a little bit more about what you do, or you're interested in learning more about what it would be like to work together, send me an email. That's all you have to do. But if you're not ready for that, but you're like, I just want a little bit more clarity around what this might look like for me. And we talked about those free resources. Well, I don't just give this free nutrition pack for a reason, because I don't think that we need another nutrition pack. What I did was I created a 5-day training for you instead. And that 5-day training is totally free. You just have to head over to my website, bakerfamilyfitness.com/movemountains. If you're on social media, you can just message me the word mountains and I'll just send you the link there if that makes it easier for you. But that's where we get a little bit clearer on your specific path, and I help you understand how to start to implement this into your own life. It's pretty cool training. God really put it on my heart. I'm pretty excited about it, and you can share it with anyone that you feel God prompts you to do that with. I know the season of life can feel heavy. I know sometimes when we're trying to figure all this stuff out, it can really be challenging, especially even right now as this podcast airs. We're in the middle of summer and we're trying to crunch in almost a year's worth of living into 8 weeks because we got to go over here, we got to do this, but we're still working, we still have the kids, and it can feel like a lot, but we have to learn to pivot around these things. So that's what my heart is for you to figure out, that we can still do these things during these seasons, but I know how hard it is. And we're going to make a decision probably in September, and we're going to see all the marketing from all the people in the world to join this program because September is the best time to start. No, the best time to start is right now when you're busy, so that you know that you can get through these busy seasons always moving forward. Okay? God has a purpose for your life. He has a plan for you to live with strength. And I know how important that is for you. So thank you for being here. I hope you took a lot of value from today and you know which direction you're going to head. If you have any questions or concerns or you need any help trying to figure this stuff out, you know how to get in contact with me. But until then, my friends, keep building strength for generations. Thanks for tuning in to Strength for Generations. If this podcast encouraged you, it would be a blessing if you took a quick minute to leave a 5-star review. It helps more families hear this message and find hope for their health and faith journey. It lights me up to know this podcast is helping you. And if you feel led to share this episode, text it to a friend, post it to your stories, or send it to someone on your heart. God might use it to encourage someone who really needs it today. And don't forget to eat steaks, lift weights, love Jesus, and keep doing it His way.